Salutations from space and aloha from Earth, friends. I gotta get this thing turned off. So many windows to juggle at once. Hold on, a magic ring is necessary for this one. Before we dive in, well, I'm seeing many of your congratulations on the screen. Thank you so much. Maybe baby Maya will make a cameo, a guest experience during, or guest visit during StarrTelling Hours today. I'm not sure. Maybe we can get her on next week or whatever. Hopefully she's getting some rest. It was a long night for mama and baby. But yeah, I just want to start by giving love and gratitude for all the love and gratitude that we received, the blessings, the words of wisdom, the life advice, the many wonderful gifts. Many of you contributed through our baby registry. Thank you so much. Maya came in on Father's Day, which is a pretty cool gift, of course. I don't think she's going to be a Hallmark holiday astrologer, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if she's an astrologer based upon her chart. She, I think, would go at it much more, well, let me say, even more psychically than I do. Time will tell. And we're here to discuss other matters. But one of the matters that we are here to discuss today, as we tune into the sacred astronomy keys of really the most magical alignment of our day and age, or I would suggest this, that our day and age offers one of the most powerful sacred astronomical activations that is possible here on Earth. It's about alignments of Earth, Moon, Sun, of matter, soul, spirit, and the galactic core of mystery that we have incarnated at very special times. And so, of course, this applies to my baby and to all of our babies and all of us babies of the spirit, source, soul, matter here for this dance, you know. Given the world today, at least the one that's being sold on the TV screens, it's easy to wish not to bring about more kids. But that's why it's the most important time for us to do just this. And so I've kind of been in a push and pull between those two sides of that rope. And baby wins. What am I? But an instrument for the incoming soul to conduct
Which makes me feel, by the way, to read for myself and for all of us parents, for all of us humans here on Earth, a poem by the great Khalil Gibran, which was from the Prophet. This was not planned today, but I don't plan my days. On children. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speaks to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hands be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. There's an arrow wailing a little bit through that wall. I just want to send some compassion and some heart, not only to babe, but also to mom. It was such an amazing gift to witness the intense power of warrior goddess, my beloved ScorpiAna, demonstrated. Once again, it's something I've seen many times, but especially in that birthing tub. Oh my. And just to be in awe of the power of feminine, of mother, and of baby, and of divine timing. It was all so much. I don't know that I'll ever catch up to what it all means, but you know I will try. For what can I do but seek? So on children and the, let's read this again. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. These arrows that fly, of course, are not only our biological children. What are you creating today? What are you creating in this moment with that thought and that one and that action? And the beautiful focus of that will, that opportunity to allow creation to create through you, which is not only your divine right, but your responsibility as spirit reflected through soul and manifested here on earth. This place that allows the appearance of time and space, offering the opportunity for growth. We grow through what we go through. This, by the way, does not necessitate some paradigm of no pain, no gain. That's important to remember. But it does require feeling. For feeling opens healing. Healing opens knowing. Knowing opens growing. And as you grow, so grows all that ever was, is, and will be. This is the game, my friends. And of course, it's not some simple thing. Well, it's as simple as a flower, but that's a complicated thing. And I'm remembering that here on StarrTelling Hour, the Well, borrowed the flowers that I brought for my beloved so we could all partake in this celebration of new life. Oh, and there's a new flower on Earth who probably someday will say, Dad, your shirt's wrinkled. And hopefully I will appreciate that observation and respond accordingly. Right. So we're bringing in these creations. We're bringing in these thoughts, these thinks. And as the great Alan Watts taught me, thinks are things. What things can we create? What arrows will we bend to allow the archer to fire through us? At this powerful time, friends, you have manifested, you have incarnated at a most powerful time. You feel it in your bones. And I would like to show you the sacred astronomical keys that support what you already know. These are the times for great growth. And that is true 1,000 years ago and 1,000 years from now too. But everything is aligning now so that Earth and Moon and Sun can perform most magical tricks at the galactic cross. Before I get into, well, charts and mostly illustration and animations of sacred astronomical happenings, let's fast forward to the end of this trip. What's it all about and what can we do about it? What it is all about is that we are in a turning of the ages, defined less, by the way, than the east point, the east equinox point, which is 0 degrees tropical Aries, the point that is due east of Earth's center. It's defined less by that point precessing through the stars of the water bearer than it is by Gaia's spine, the sword of our stone, the rotational axis of Earth, and therefore the solstices, 0 Cancer, which is north of Earth, 0 Capricorn, which is south of Earth. And by the way, friends, I'm not talking about some constellational zodiac. I'm not on some Ophiuchian trip. I'm not talking about sidereal star-based zodiacs either. I'm talking about the tropical zodiac, which is the zodiac of Earth. And like so many sacred systems of ancient wisdom traditions, the signs of the tropical zodiac are directionally aligned. In fact, I would suggest that they are directionally defined, and it is all about Gaia's spine, the world tree, which leans north in every moment forever, regardless of Earth's tertiary or third motion precession. The North Pole leans towards that place in space we directional astrologers know as 0 degrees Cancer. So if this is, well, let's have this. T, if this is the sun, and this is the Earth, every year our orbit arranges this amazing happening where Earth's North Pole leans towards the light. Where Earth's North Pole leans towards the light. And friends, when this happens, the sun moves into tropical Cancer. And when he does, the sun shines directly above Earth's Tropic of Cancer, which is named for the Greek tropikos. This means turnaround. Solstice means the sun stops. The sun stops what? The sun stops heading north for 6 months, turns around and starts heading south. And by the way, we might model that like this. Here is Earth's equator, where you will find, Aries and Libra glyphs. Here's Earth's Tropic of Cancer, where you find the Cancer crab. The Tropic of Capricorn, where you will find the goat that climbs. And so basically, as Earth, with our tilt, orbits the sun, we can model this as the sun moving from Earth's Tropic of Capricorn across the equator, that's Aries equinox, to the Tropic of Cancer, that's now Northstice, and the sun, Earth's north axis leans towards the light, coming back across the equator at Libra equinox, falling, if you will, to the southern extreme, the Tropic of Capricorn, the Earth's southern bounds. And then we climb like a goat again. Now that might not feel like a climb in southern hemisphere skies, but rather the sink. But a very important truth of the directional zodiac is that we are moving Earth through north through space. Earth is moving north through space. Why? Because the sun, our solar system, is as we travel about what? The galactic core, the sun of our sun, the great mystery, the black hole, white hole at the center of it all. And that galactic core plays a very important role in this time, this most magical time of our incarnation. Why? Because in our day and age, and this is a 26,000 year thing, that's the third motion of Earth, the axial precession. In our day and age, the south point, and therefore what is above the Tropic of Capricorn, the Earth's south pole, is leaning towards the galactic cross. Earth's north pole leaning towards the galactic edge. So I want to just play a little bit more music for you and show this most mysterious place in the heavens. If I can find it. Yes, I can. Although, you know what? Like this, you don't get to hear the music. But it is still worth listening with your eyes. All right, a few things before we move along. Actually, one, could you hear that song? I mean, if so, it wouldn't have been high quality because it was my computer microphone picking up its own speakers, and that's poor form. But going live as I can here in 3 places at once, which is wonderful, limits me from being able to play the sound of a movie that I have on my computer like this, unless it's already uploaded to online. Heard it in bits, yes, in and out. Yeah, again, super, not the way to do it. You know, a way where we might is if we went to constellations. And that's another thing I wanted to share anyway. So let's first actually take a different detour. I want to take you to a place online called GeminiBrett.com. where you will find many tabs, including astrology sessions. That's the place to go if you would like to book a session with me. By the way, this little video will explain to you why I have recently gone to sliding scale. The short story is I have a daughter to provide for, and oh my gosh, I'm kind of freaking out. If you really want to support the work, that's a great place to do so. Please book a session with me. There's short sessions, there's new sessions, there's follow-up sessions, there's mentorship packages, and here you will find this Song of the Soul, where if you'd like, you could hire myself and master pianist Eric Deutsch to create a soul song of your birth chart, or to offer this as a gift to someone else. Up at the top tabs here, you will also see moon songs. And you just heard from one. We started off with listening to a moon song too, and I'm gonna have to go back to that video at some point to speak about the out of bounds moons and the most out of bounds moons at standstill time, okay? If you go to moon songs here and then click this beautiful image that my beloved ScorpiAna put together, you will be redirected to Eric Deutsch, my dear friend Eric Deutsch's Bandcamp page, and specifically the one for this album that we created, where we made about a 7-minute soul song. I should say Eric recorded a grand piano channeled masterpiece for each of the 13 new moons of 2022, based upon the astroharmonic notes that I build based upon the chart of the time. Usually we do this for natal charts. We've done 400 of these now, more than 400, but we've also played with doing them for astronomical moments like new moons. And actually baby Maya was born to this one, Taurus new moon of April 30th, 2022, which was a solar eclipse. And I might share just a bit about that, actually. Was any of that even on the screen? Let's try that again. So at my website, this is on the screen. Yes. Okay. So click on moon songs here, and you'll see this image. Click on that image and you'll go to Eric's page. I'm seeing I hit a button that I should have hit sometime along that flow. Yeah, and so you can listen, you can just stream any of these for free. Please do. If you would like to see my production notes and see how I take a chart and turn it into astro harmony and chord changes and a list of symbolic scenes to help guide Eric's channeling of the Celestial Symphony, then I think we're asking for a donation of $7 or more, which supports Eric, by the way, and all great musicians who give their lives for the art deserve support. Then yeah, you'll get I don't know, it's 90 pages or something, my notes for these 13 songs. And I put this on at some point, and Maya was born right in this Taurus new moon or Gemini new moon of 2022. Interestingly, that Taurus new moon was a solar eclipse that year. And because I had to turn on my internet on my phone at the birthing tub to access the moon songs, then I was able to receive text messages while Maya was coming through, and I didn't really appreciate those distractions. However, I was contemplating the truth that at that Taurus solar eclipse in 2022, Mama and I were in Tucson, Arizona. We were both teaching at the Organization for Professional Astrology's OPA's iAstrologer retreat. And by the way, I'll be teaching at OPA's retreat in October. I'll have much more to say about that soon. Please be on my mailing list, geminibrett.com. So we were there, and one thing I did was lead a ceremony outside at like 4 in the morning to celebrate that Venus, Jupiter, Neptune conjunction of Pisces at the time, and then when we had the Taurus solar eclipse the next day. And maybe this is TMI, but Anna and I had a bit of a dance that led to the conception of Well, our first child who did not incarnate on Earth. And there were two of these who came but didn't come all the way in to open the space for Maya to come through. And so it was an amazing thing to be hearing that, to be contemplating that time, to also be feeling kind of the intensity of eclipse in Sun, Moon, Earth, because we're going to look at some of the importance of this as we move forward into the sacred astronomical keys of the power of like this alignment that's literally happening this week. I also, because the phone was on, got a text from Astrology Hub, right, who Anna's been with since the beginning. She's on maternity leave right now, but I got a cosmic update from them talking about how Venus was squaring Neptune on Sunday. Well, you know, that square, that opening square is like a sprout of a seed that's planted when they're conjoined. And Venus and Neptune have conjoined, well, twice since that conjunction of 22, but it was just all like, whoa, this is just so real. And the cycles and the wheels within the wheels and that whole trip, you know, it was so amazing to just be in that space, which, you know, we can get so intellectual. The Gemini, Venus square, Pisces, Neptune, really helping to remind us sometimes of that like battle between the love for the thinks and just the mystery of all that it is that we could never know. Let's hear that from Khalil Gibran again. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. For they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. What a beautiful poem. So there was something in that, right? Of like, okay, be here, support mama, support baby. They're coming in, like be in the tub. Right, but then my mind is up here above the watery space and I'm tripping on the astrology and the things, as I will, because I'm me. And I don't know, perhaps this little soul chose a daddy like that. I would suggest so. So anyway, one place I wanted to bring you to was GeminiBrett.com, and specifically to check out that moon songs link in case you would like to listen to those powerful moon songs and to celebrate that time of Maya's becoming. But I also wanted to bring you over to, and let me get this up. It might take a second. GeminiBrett.com/star people. Now that link won't work for everyone. You have to be a member of Constellations. I'm realizing GeminiBrett.com/star meetings is the one that I just made. Right. So if you are now a member of the School of Earthstrologers membership community, this link will already work for you. If not, head over to GeminiBrett.com/constellations and take a peek of the amazing things that we are doing. Let me get this thing shared on the screen. And I think we're going to be able to find our way to that time lapse in such a way that the music will play. That's the goal. It's the short-term goal right now. So we share it all, and we say a Brett within a Brett within a Brett within a Brett. And then over here, okay, so you're right. If you're in the School of Earthstrology, you should know this image well. This is our meetups page. And so, by the way, I did make this short link for y'all to get here easily, which is GeminiBrett.com/star meetings. Okay. And this just shows you everything that we have going on in the School of Earthstrology and coming up, including StarrTelling Hours, which you're on right now. And it has that link. And this is a public thing, as many of you are experiencing. The rest of this is for folks that are in the School of Earthstrology's Constellations community. Today, 4 p.m. Pacific time, Amala Hall will be sharing Gemini astro herbalism and Mercury plants. She is a deep, amazing wisdom holder. I'm very excited for that. We have community discussions several times a week. This Friday, Alyssa Luna will be leading a Cancer astro embodiment practice. And hopefully, I've got to reach out, but I imagine she would, even if I didn't hold a solstice candle lighting ceremony for community. Alyssa is a great magician. Just last week, Phelan Shiva began her Astro Tarot transmissions. It's an amazing class. In that circle, we have all these different circles here. It's already been popping. Okay, so where I want to go now is to our feed. Though I'm going to stop the share because I don't think I want to share a bunch of people's comments and things without their permission. But this, I believe, will allow me to get, won't it, to that time lapse in such a way that I can play it with music. And I also think that I don't want to take too much of our time hunting that down. But let me try a little bit more. You know what? There's just been too much love and too much action in the site between now and then. So I don't think that's happening, friends. Okay. I guess you heard the music in and out. I do want to show you the imagery once again, and then bring you also back to the imagery that we started with. So I'm going to open that again. Okay. Things to do. So many places to go. And because some of this will get rather heady, I just want to, again, like, have a breath. Would actually invite you to breathe with me, if you would, please. Actually, while we're here, if you would, please reach your hands to the top of the sky and send your energy also down through your spine to the heart of the earth. You are reaching up to a different star than I am now. For we are all on different places of her beautiful surface. The above is the particular. But down there in the center, we meet in a place where we are all one. The below is the whole. And that is the place where we measure planets in signs from. We are measuring our experience of Earth's experience of the heavenly happenings, as above, so below. As without, so within. Bring the energy of the particular above down and the energy of the below up, and meet at the heart, the most magical of the 7 directions, source. The art of the chart starts in the heart. So if I may, I would just like to say that we have incarnated in most magical times. There's a great galactic alignment that is happening. Some could say from like 1950 to 2050, 1975 to 2025, if you want to be more tight. Although I would suggest this is more like 1950 to maybe 2350 or 2350 AD. I know they like to say CE these days, but hey, if you're going to use the Pope's calendar, you might as well use that terminology. I say we recreate the way that we keep time. Like, how about instead of a 365-day calendar, we use the 360-degree calendar, which is more precise? Well, you know what? We do. That's called the tropical zodiac, friends. Oh, Lori, I'm seeing that. I love my soul song. I'm so glad you do. I love you. It's nice to have you here. And gosh, I'm just checking in with the comment section. So much happening here. Emmy says, yes, come join Constellations, friends. So much amazement, value, and heart in there. Emmy, thank you for connecting that star above your head in Germany in this moment with mine here in California. Wonderful. Aaron says, yay, Phelan. And I agree. Okay. Mani, Tibetan teaching says that we have reincarnated for this moment. Yes. And there is a powerful portal that's happening now. I aim to show this to you. And how do I want to go about it? Well, you know, I think I might show you a photograph. So after Maya was born, I mean, fortunately for me, because I was like, gosh, if I had like somebody on hand to go take images of the sky before birth, after, to really look for the first bird that flies by, which direction is the wind coming from, I would. Like, I feel like I would be the right guy to hire for that gig, by the way. And maybe I'll add that to my lists of services. The night before Maya was born, I was out recording some teachings for future students of the Turning of the Ages Mystery School's cosmology course that I recently recorded with my first teacher, Daniel Jamario. And I'll tell you right now, if Maya didn't just come in, I would be in Scotland with Daniel Jamario right now. We're going to speak about why in just a moment's time. Well, many moments, actually. So fortunately, I have a lot of recordings from shortly before Mama's water broke. And actually, after I snuck out a couple times and I recorded the position of Dipper and North Star and Cassiopeia, I went in front of the house and recorded a position of the ecliptic. And then the day after Maya was born, I woke up. She wasn't even a day old. And I went out to my morning sky space, which requires a bit of a drive. And I recorded a video for her, introducing her to a couple planets that helps me keep it together during the time of Mom's pregnancy and the years leading into Maya's coming. And so I introduced her, the future her that watches this video, if she chooses to, I won't force it, to Saturn, who helps us ground here and stay within the wonderful rules of this dream. And brings the tradition and the wisdom. And I introduced her to Mars, who gives us energy and allows us to channel our will. And I introduced her to Jupiter, who encourages us to seek. And Jupiter and Gemini now, let's seek in strange and new ways, right? But most importantly, I went out at that time to show her this. And I invite all of you to wake up and see it, which is the Pleiades. Hopefully you see at the top of this image. And Jupiter, who's down there on the horizon. Now, can you see my mouse yet? What if I do this? Yes. There are 7 daughters of Pleione and Atlas who are here. The eldest of them was named Maya. That's who our baby's named after. And this star is now known as Maya. So I wanted to go take a picture for her of the star, which is her namesake. The Pleiades have just had their heliacal rise. The sun has just passed them by far enough that they can be seen in the morning sky. And this is true of Jupiter as well, or Zeus, And there was a time like this when Zeus visited Maya, as he does only every orbit, so about 12 years, when a seed was planted that would be born as a young magician called Hermes. And amazingly, when Maya was born, Mercury, Hermes, was parallel with Maya. I mean, exactly the day before her birth. And this can only happen when Mercury is out of bounds. We love stargazer lilies, and we love lilies stargazers. Yes. This is one of the many magical things happening that just convinced me Maya was the name for this soul coming in. Mama wasn't so sure, and we waited to know, and we didn't know until shortly after she was born. But it's right for a million reasons. I mean, our first birthing class was Moon conjunct Maya. And I want to show you something important about the Pleiades and Maya and stars that are near but not exactly on the ecliptic plane. And you know what? I think I'm going to do this by bringing you to my natal chart. Sorry if it feels like I'm making this all about me. So I was born in Boston, Massachusetts on October 24th, 1975 at 7:39 p.m. Now you know everything about me. Those of you in the know about fixed stars, and there's a wonderful series of classes that you can access at the courses page at GeminiBrett.com on fixed stars and how to work with them besides just longitudinal or zodiac degree projection. If you know about your fixed stars, you know that in our day and age of precession, 9.5 or 10 degrees tropical Gemini is the placement of Aldebaran, the eye of the bull. In that 10th degree of tropical Sagittarius, the placement of Antares, the heart of the scorpion. But I want to give you a look at this. Here, by the way, is the time I took this photograph, June 17th, 2024, 4:44 a.m. I mean, amazingly, here where I live at that time, Maya and Jupiter were very closely kind of stacked. And by the way, with Aldebaran, which in many regards I know is my rising star. But I was born at a time very much like this. Jupiter was not there. He was up here somewhere. And actually, let me just take you there. I'll take you there. So let's head to Boston, Massachusetts. And let's go back in time to 1975. Here's October 24th, 1939. Okay. So a pretty similar setup, as you can see, when I was born to the time when I took that photograph. And what I want to show you is this. While Aldebaran does indeed project to, we draw perpendicular lines to the ecliptic plane to the degree that was rising when I was born. I mean, almost exactly. When I was born, Aldebaran was at 9 degrees, 27 minutes, tropical Gemini, and my ascendant is 9:36. Okay, so it's a very close alignment. And the chart, if I put Aldebaran on the chart, and I can, let me just show you like the Bohemian stars. Here's Aldebaran at 9:27, you see? So it looks like Aldebaran is now above the ground, okay? But that's true in what we call in Zodiaco, which is the projection of Aldebaran to the sun's path, the ecliptic plane, the heart of the zodiac, yeah? But not in what we call in Mundo, which also considers Aldebaran's celestial latitude. So longitude is zodiac degrees, how far along the ecliptic plane or around the circle of the sun, as measured, by the way, from 0 tropical Aries, which is this point here. It's not in Ram constellation. It is the place where the ecliptic, the plane of the year, norths across the equator, the plane of the day. And I'm going to show you some other slides to describe that also, which this is the north node of spirit and soul. And I'll say more about that too. Let me say it's the north node of spirit and matter. Anyway, so while Aldebaran does indeed project to the ascendant at the time of my birth, I also work with the Pleiades personally, well, in many ways, and have been worked on by the Pleiades in many ways too. Let me leave that there. Though I do appreciate that you like it weird. Anyway, when the Pleiades rise and they're like this far above the ground, they were at an altitude of almost 10 degrees when I was born. That's like the clue for me that my ascendant's rising, right? These early degrees of Gemini are rising. The first face of Gemini is rising. That's interesting to hear, Stephanie, that one of the most out of bounds charts you've seen is Osho's. Intriguing, because we're about to talk out of boundsness in just a bit. But let's also cut to the chase. Like Mani asked, curious what signatures out of bounds plans have. Freak out, break out of the box. Don't be limited by the kind of typical design. Break the rules a little bit. Look, breaking broken rules is the right thing to do. And planets go most out of bounds in the signs of Gemini, Cancer, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. In other words, these solstice signs. My friends, Gemini is a solstice sign too. Right? It's the Gemini Cancer cusp that is the solstice. Sagittarius is a solstice sign too. It's the Sagittarius Capricorn cusp that is the solstice, the Tropic of Capricorn. And planets are most likely, unless they're named Pluto, to go out of bounds in solstice signs. And I would suggest this, that out of bounds Gemini just makes something more Gemini. Out of bounds Sagittarius makes something more Sagittarian. But out of bounds Cancer and out of bounds Capricorn really resists the kind of standard nature of those signs. Okay, but generally speaking, out of bounds, break out, counterculture, break those broken rules, be you, you know. All right. Teresa, I'm seeing your congrats on the arrival of Maya. Thank you. I should say that Maya, M-A-I-A, spelled like Maya, the mother of Hermes, rather than M-A-Y-A. Maya, like the people, or the name that moderns have given to the ancient peoples whose name we don't know, of modern day Mesoamerica. Okay. So back into the heart before we go play with illustrations and charts more. We have incarnated at most magical times. The sky doesn't lie. Powerful portals are open. And while the old world crumbles, we are dreaming in the new world. Every thought, every decision matters. And if we can allow ourselves to feel along the way in this turbulent place, we feel, we heal, we know, we grow. And that's why spirit reflected itself through soul in that unique way, and that one, 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 and this one, and the baby over there, to come into this place with the appearance of time and space we call matter, which is required for growth. Stephanie says, I totally had my husband record the snowstorm that happened during our son's birth. Yes. Love it. Nadine, I rode up to labor and delivery with Timothy Leary. Amazing. He was holding a little pink package like the one I was about to deliver. Beautiful. It's so fun to have community of fellow speakers like me. And again, I'm going to type this in the comments, which is geminibrett.com/constellations. Many of you have joined this. Many of you have played in this school of Earthstrology. Otherwise, look, we are offering the maiden voyage price still of only $16 a month. And you can unsubscribe whenever, or $160 a year. If you really want to support the work, but get back more than what you put in, much more, join Constellations. It's a great space with amazing wisdom souls. So Stephanie writes that Osho has moon. I'm not sure what B4 would mean there. Venus and Mars all out of bounds. Well, we're about to have Moon, Mercury, and Venus all out of bounds. And Moon is going most out of bounds every month. Twice at this time. And this happens every 18 and a half years when the North lunar node gets to 0. Tropical. Not sidereal, not Ophiucan. Earth zodiac, tropical. When the North Node reaches 0 degrees tropical Aries, we are in what was called the lunar standstill, lunar maximums, or the lunar extremes. So, where to go? So many places. The Pleiades, I just want you to see, are not on the ecliptic plane. Okay, let me go sometime before my birth, and we're just going to follow the moon here. I'm rewinding here. Retrograde. I got to hear a lot of my birth story from my mother yesterday, which was amazing. And I'm getting to see here that the moon in 1975 conjoined, this is hilarious, conjoined the Pleiades at about 7 p.m. on October 22nd. I have a feeling that I was probably due on this day and would have been scheduled to be induced on that day if it wasn't Game 7 of the World Series, in which my dad's team and mine when I was young, the Boston Red Sox, would play. This was the night, October 22nd, 2 days before my birth, that the Red Sox lost the World Series then to the Cincinnati Reds. So I was just talking about that this morning on a impromptu live stream, where I wonder if that like depression, angst, anger of my dad 2 days before my birth is one of the things that I was processing at 2 years old. If you're in the know, that's a correlation of converse secondary progressions. Negative 2 days comes around when you're 2 years old. I got very sick and was in the hospital at that time. And I feel like I was probably processing some of my dad's stuff. What I want to show you here is that on this October 22nd, 1975 image, just for an example, the moon was aligned with the Pleiades through projections, okay? So in zodiaco, in longitude, in zodiac degree, but this was certainly not a moon Pleiades occultation, even though I have the moon supersized there. But the moon can occult the Pleiades. And it depends upon where the moon's nodes are. When I was born, the moon's south node, which is shown here, where the moon's path crosses the sun's path, was in Taurus. And the moon can never occult the Pleiades when the south node is in Taurus. We would have to have let me think about this, the north node in Sagittarius. No, the north node in Pisces for the Pleiades to be occulted. Yeah, so actually that's happening now. I'm going to go back to where I reside. I don't know why. Of course, the north node right now is in 0 tropical Aries. Let's just go to a chart, which helps us play. And we'll ask for when does the north node change signs? Astro Gold astrology software makes this easy. The North Node, by the way, will precess or regress into tropical Pisces on January 11th, 2025. And this, by the way, meets the conditions for the ultimate out of bounds moon. I mean, amazingly, the moon is at a solstice degree right then. Let me show you here. Moon ingresses Cancer. On January 11th, 2025 will be 8:24 p.m. Pacific. In the Northern Hemisphere, like where I live, this will be just like the highest moon, okay? Let's go look at that. So January 11th, 2025, 8:24 p.m. Pacific time. So this is moon ingress Cancer, tropical Cancer, the Earth zodiac, the tropical zodiac, the directional zodiac. This is moon ingress Cancer with the North Node of the moon at the Aries point. And this is the conditions for the most north out of bounds moon that can ever go down. Now, this, by the way, happens for a window of time every month, every 18.6 years. And this will be the peak of the peak, January 11th, 2025, clouds allowing. Maybe we can see this. This would be much more visible in the southern hemisphere. But let me just show you that in the southern hemisphere, this northern latitude, meaning the moon is north of the sun's path, the ecliptic shown here in gold. If I just turn this to the southern hemisphere, first of all, we're going to have to look north to find the ecliptic plane. And this would be a very low moon in southern hemisphere skies because north is high up north and low down south. South is low up north and high down south. And let me show you another way where we can see that. For now, let me go back to where I live in the Bay Area of California, and we're going to look south again. So I have to like really look up almost to the top of the sky, which is here, zenith, to see the most north out of bounds moon at that time. And how do I know the moon is out of bounds? Through her declination. So I have other places where I want to show that to you, okay? But the other thing I wanted to show you is this. Let me actually even show, it looks like it's this time with the North Node at 0 Aries. I need to keep the moon on the screen to show her path, which is shown here in silver. Do you see how the moon is on track to occult the Pleiades at that time? In fact, let's follow the moon and we'll go back in time. In our day and age, it's an amazing gift to have the Pleiades marking a cusp of a tropical zodiac degree. In our day and age, Regulus, the heart of the lion, the royal star, is at the Leo Virgo cusp, having processed into tropical Virgo in 2011. And in our day and age, the Pleiades, oops, wrong button. In our day and age, the Pleiades mark the gate between tropical Taurus and tropical Gemini. So it looks to me, actually, January 9th, we will have moon occult the Pleiades. Now, moon's supersized there, but actually, check that out. I just stopped with the moon literally on Maya. This is Maya, this star here. And that's the spelling of our baby's name, just like the mother of Hermes and the mother who nurtured Arcturus after his mother had been turned into a bear. In the Acadian mountains, named for Arcturus, by the way, really on Mount Selene. Anyway, so one of the Pleiades and the sister who was the eldest of the seven is named Maya. This is her star. And it looks like just in 2025, I was not aware of that. I thought it would take a little bit more time. The positioning of the North Node will allow the Pleiades to be occulted, right? And so at the year of my birth, this wasn't true. Like the moon would come through this zone of the zodiac down here. Whereas in this time now, and not quite now, but soon, this is January 9th, 2025. And I've just found out when the North Node is at 0 Aries. So I can't wait to show Anna this because she was born with that condition, which is the maximum lunar standstill opportunity. That, again, is North Node at 0 tropical Aries, and I'll show you why. This is moon occulting the Pleiades, and like specifically Maya. It would seem Maya has a declination of 24 degrees and 27 arc minutes in our day and age. So 24, 27. And here's moon at 24, 26. Holy moly. I'm really excited to show that to Anna, because this would also have been true when she was born a couple standstills ago in 1987. Okay, another thing I want to do is just go back to that photo that I showed you from earlier. So let me go back to June 17th, 4:44 a.m. And we're looking east here at this Pleiades Jupiter alignment. I had mentioned before that, and it's so cool because I didn't know this was coming. In my last class in the School of Earthstrologers Constellations group was on parallels. Well, at this time, and even more so the day of Maya's birth, which is June 16th, and even more so the day before, there was a perfect Mercury Maya parallel. And that's shown here in mauve. This is like the where Mercury would rise on the horizon that day. And us seeing that Maya rose in the same place. I'm going to retrograde, I'm going to rewind time, and we'll look at Maya rising. And I'm just going to circle the place on the horizon where that goes down. I sure hope this is all showing up on your screen. And then notice how Mercury rises in the same place. And then the next thing I want to show you is this, that place in the center of my circle is to the north, that's left, of the place where the Tropic of Cancer rises. The Tropic of Cancer can be seen here in this Cancer glyph. So Mercury in Maya rose over here, north of the Tropic of Cancer, which is the most northern point of the tropical zodiac. Now, could everyone see the astronomy stuff I was just showing on the screen? I sure hope that's true. This place is great because I can share it at 3 places at once. But it's kind of hard to deal with. I might, by the way, for that reason, just go back to, thank you for telling me, yes, that you could see it, to go back to the old way I used to roll. And by the way, I should mention this, if you're watching this on Instagram, on that tiny little screen, head over to my YouTube page. So GeminiBrett.com/YouTube, will get you there. Or if you're on Instagram, you can go to, the link in my bio and redirect to my YouTube page. Okay, cool. What next? Yes, let's go to some slides here. And I'm going to show you the 2 caduceus staffs of Hermes. Enter the School of Earthstrology. So many myths from around the world talk to us of dragons eating the sun or the moon at eclipse time. There's been some academic suggestions that we don't have such tales from the West. Do they not know about that serpent around the world tree and the apple with the Adams and Eves? Or what about this? This is Latona on the run. In the Greek, her name is Leto, and she is the mother of the moon and the sun, or at least the guidess and guide of those lights these days, named, of course, Diana in the Latin, or Artemis in the Greek, a goddess of the moon, and Apollo, a guide of the sun. And the story goes like this. Leto was on the run, for she was carrying Zeus's kid, and his wife Hera though they were married after the child was conceived, was not happy about this. So she conjured forth Python from his oracle at Delphi and had him chase the pregnant Leto out of town, away from the safety and the guidance of midwife. And she was on the run. Fortunately, blessings on high helped her find her way to a moment of safety on the island of Delos, where she birthed the child. Actually, the first, because it turns out there would be twins. This child born was named Artemis, the goddess of the moon. And of course, moon is goddess of midwives. Well, Diana clocked in almost right away, not right away, but rather 9 days and 9 nights later. And if you're in the know, there's a very important reason why. That's 108 hours of light and 108 hours of darkness. But anyway, Diana, or Artemis, would then deliver her brother Apollo. They were great with the bow, both of them, you know, and later in life, her brother Apollo would stretch back his bow and put an arrow through that dragon's head and take his oracle at Delphi, which you probably know is oracle of Apollo, but you might have wondered, why the heck is this sun being Apollo the great lead of an oracle that is so nocturnal, right? Where great wise women are inhaling gases from inside the earth and the darkness and such. And it's because it was once the oracle of this serpent, Python. Now, Apollo putting the arrow through the dragon's head, friends, that looks like this. What do I mean? This is Apollo's arrow, I would suggest. It is a line that goes through the heart of Earth and the hearts of the sun and the moon. Oops, I guess I messed up the illustration, right? No, it's not like this every month. It's not like this every month. It's not like this every year. So we are looking at the illustration now at a conjunction, a new moon. Moon conjunct sun in the zodiac. The zodiac, the heart of the zodiac, is the ecliptic plane, which I like to call the circle of spirit, because this is the ring of the light, the one ring that rules us all and in the light binds us. The sun's path, because it is Earth's path about the sun, but we experience that yearly motion of our planet orbiting the light as the light orbiting us, and the sun orbits us on the ecliptic path. This path is embraced by the 12, not 13, constellations known as zodiac. So the sun's journey will always be hosted by one of those 12 star groups. Now, we don't see this. We'll go blind trying. And this is why all of the original zodiacs were lunar, because we can actually watch moon day by day, jump almost 13 degrees, sometimes much more, through the constellations that embrace the ecliptic plane. However, the moon is on her own path. Now, if we looked at moon at this time, we would see nothing. A new moon is a no moon, and it's typically like this, that when moon meets the sun for their synod, that means meeting. Moon is under the sun's beams, whether in the northern hemisphere like this, we're seeing the moon above the sun. Southern hemisphere would see moon below the sun. Just turn your head upside down. Or the moon is beneath. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The moon is hidden by the sun's bright beams, this place of the great mystery that hides the heavens from our view. By day, there can only be one star, that star of ours that we call sun. So new moon is defined in a different way today than it used to be. We do this mathematically and look at these conjunctions. There were, of course, ancient honorings of such syzygies, the alignments of the three things, earth, moon, and sun. But the lunar calendar months begin when the moon becomes visible with Diana's bow, that sliver crescent, you see, the bow that the goddess shoots, that we find in the sunset west a day or sometimes two after the synod, after the meeting of the lights. We're going to move on from here and just look at a few different months. So here's the moon crossing south of the sun's path and now crossing north. That is called the draconic month. I'll bring you back to that. First, let's honor the sidereal month, which is the month of the stars. So moon, for example, aligned to the Pleiades and aligned to the Pleiades again. Where I have the Earth's North Pole oriented, that moon-sun conjunction with which we began would have been around Praesepe, the beehive cluster. But regardless, we wouldn't have seen it because the sun is there, right? What we're looking at now in phase is the moon just before the next meeting. So this is the balsamic moon, the sliver crescent that we see in the sunrise east, Hecate's bow. Now the moon has circled the earth or ellipsed the earth, or moon earth together danced in their elliptical thing once, and that's called a sidereal month, a month of the stars, or a tropical month, moon moving from one zodiac degree back to that degree. And that's about 27 1/3 days and a change on average. But it's not the same as the month of meetings. That's called the synodic month. Again, synod means meeting, right? So from one new moon, meaning moon-sun conjunction, to the next, moon has to travel another 2 days and a bit to catch up to the sun, who, of course, in that 27 days of moon's orbit has moved about 27 degrees. And the moon moves about 13 degrees per day. So another about 2 days after the moon's tropical month to start the next synodic month, moon-sun conjunction. Now we're going to watch the draconic month, which you can measure either from moon north node back to north node or moon south node back to south node. Now, what are north and south nodes? And all planets have them, because though our solar system is relatively flat, every planet has its own orbital path. The ecliptic is the plane of the Earth-Sun relationship, matter, Earth, spirit, sun, our local image and transmission force of the one light. So when we say nodes, we're typically speaking about the lunar nodes, which are the places in space from Earth's point of view where the paths of moon and sun intersect. So let's watch now moon south across the ecliptic plane. And we'll find her now at her southern bending, and then about to cross at the north node. And I stop here because I want to honor that each year, twice, when the sun is close enough to Apollo's arrow, meaning a line that we can draw through the hearts of moon, earth, and sun, or let's say through the hearts of moon's path, sun's path in the heart of earth, okay? Those are the lunar nodes. That's Apollo's arrow, you see. And each year when the sun is either at the south node here, that's the place where the moon's path souths across the sun's path. We used to call it the descending node, but in the southern hemisphere sky, it ascends. This is where the moon goes higher above the ecliptic. I'm going to continue speaking northern hemisphere to make it half as confusing. All right. The moon every month snakes above and below the path of the sun. And when moon is square to the intersection points of those paths of spirit and soul, of gold and silver, moon is about 5 degrees south, what we call the southern bending, or north at the northern bending. Okay, so we south across the ecliptic at the dragon's tail. We get to the dragon's belly, southern bending, 5 degrees south latitude, south of the ecliptic plane. We come back to the ecliptic and we north across the ecliptic at the dragon's head, the north lunar node. And then squared to that node, we find the northern bending, which is about 5 degrees north at the dragon's back. And somehow the dragon's biting its own tail, but there's another one of those in the heavens that we're going to return our attention to. Anyway, each year when the sun is either at the moon's south node or half a year-ish later, half a draconic year, which is about 355 days, when the sun is at the moon's north node, then we have eclipse season, yes? Because this arranges for the moon-sun oppositions, the full moons, when moon is fully reflecting sunlight back to Earth, or the conjunctions, the synods, the new moons, to be either lunar or solar eclipse respectively. Here we would get just a little bit of a dragon bite out of that moon cookie because we have a full moon that's not so close to the nodes, but partial lunar eclipses like this, or penumbral lunar eclipses where you really see no bite at all, they will either be preceded or followed by a solar eclipse that is either near total or annular, the ring of fire. Here we see the diamond ring of a total solar eclipse, that image of alchemical marriage between moon goddess, moon queen, and sun king. Now, you can find this in much more detail when you join Constellations, because you will have access to the 3 classes I've already taught so far this year since the ship launched, including a 7-hour deep dive on eclipses and eclipse cycles and how to work with them in your chart. This, my friend, is Apollo's bow. We see Diana's bow, the sliver crescent moon, every month. We see Apollo's bow only like this if you happen to be in that place on Earth that is shadowed by moon. When she totally occults the sun disk, we see the crescent before and the crescent after, the phases that we typically see in a month only during the course of hours in time, and it is a great portal of rapid acceleration. This is Apollo's bow, and I needed to show you that. I don't now want to speak to these mysteries of how it's the greatest gift of seeing that the chart goes both ways. I wanted to show you that so I could bring you into the 2 caduceus staffs of Hermes. Again, in the lower right, and let's just watch another month like this. Every month, moon snakes above and below the path of the sun. And this, by the way, is why we call the nodes the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. And while we have these so many stories from around the world, including the West, you quackademics, including the West, of dragons eating sun or moon, or being shot by solar arrows at the time of eclipse. Now I direct your attention to the other caduceus staff of Hermes on the lower left. On the right, this is the staff formed by the dragon crossings of moon, north and south of sun's path. Okay, and that is moon bending north and south by about 5 degrees in north and 5 degrees south of the sun's path, crossing at the nodes where the moon has 0 degrees celestial latitude, as sun always does, because we measure celestial latitude from the ecliptic plane, and the sun by definition is on the ecliptic plane. You see, that is the plane of the sun. That is the circle of spirit. Moon is not confined to that course. Moon every month snakes north and south, separating by about 5 degrees, a little bit more each month. And some months are more extreme and others less. Snaking. Well, my friends, there is a solar serpent too. So I direct your gaze to the image on the lower left, and let's just bring that serpent here. This is the zodiac. And this is the solar serpent, or the snaking of spirit and matter. What you're seeing in the center of the frame are the 12 signs of the tropical zodiac, Earth's zodiac, the directional zodiac. They are configured to Gaia's spine, to the sword of our stone, to the world tree, Earth's rotational axis, which defines the cardinal directions, north, west, south, and east. They are color-coded towards the elements, right? So you see here the image of the sun at the east point, 0 degrees tropical Aries, which is due east, not of New York or LA, but of the center of the earth, that place below the whole, that place where we are all one, that place where we measure planets in signs from. The signs are of the whole below. They emanate from the center of the earth outward, not from the stars inward. At least I can say this of the directional zodiac. I am convinced that they're of Earth's crystal core, but I'll get into that religion in another transmission. Can you see how the sun's path, which is this ecliptic plane, snakes north and south of the equator? Now, the equator is the plane of the day. It's the plane of Earth's daily rotation, which brings the sun and the planets through the houses. The houses, by the way, local, they're surface, they're particular. The signs below whole. Now, this snaking takes much longer than the moon snake. Let's go back to the two caduceus, right? So let's look on the lower right again, snaking by the moon. Moon snakes north and south of the sun's plane or sun's path every 27.5 days. That's the draconic month. It takes the sun a year to snake around this plane and to change from zero declination to the extremes, which are the tropics. Okay, so apparently here, as I've circled declination, and we see the declination of the sun at 1 degree north, that means we're actually past equinox. The other evidence for that is right here, where we see the longitude at 236 Aries rather than 0 Aries, or the Pisces Aries cusp, which is the east point. Okay, now regardless, as you know, after Aries equinox, the sun will move through Aries, move through Taurus, and move through Gemini. These are northern signs that respectively get further and further north until we reach the sun's northern bounds. Now, before I hit play on this animation, I want to just direct your gaze to the solar serpent sine wave down below. Okay, you'll notice that the ecliptic longitudes, in other words, the zodiac degrees of the tropical zodiac, are below Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, back to Aries. It's a circle, this thing. It's a cycle, not a line. Or it's a line that eats its own tail, if you will. You'll see the sun here because it's at Aries. That means it's at equator, equinox, has a declination of 0 degrees. And now we're going to watch the sun head north. Its northern extreme is the Tropic of Cancer. You will hear so many ignorant people tell you that there is no astronomical basis to the tropical zodiac because the tropical signs and the constellations are not aligned as they were 2,000 years ago. Now, it's true that the signs and constellations do not align now like they did then. And it's also true, by the way, that you can never have 12 equal 30-degree signs aligning to the zodiacal constellations because those constellations vary significantly in size. The mighty Ram, 15 degrees, half a sign's worth of space. The demure priestess, 47, more than a sign and a half, all right? With these ignorant people, and I'm talking about, sadly, many of the great astronomers of our day and age, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example, these ignorant people, and I'm not saying Neil deGrasse Tyson generally ignorant, although some of his comments in the last few years, anyway, let's not go there. These people, they're forgetting tropical astronomy, Earthstrology. And so I thank you for being here and supporting the channel to fight the good fight. By the way, please, this is that moment in time when I ask you to like this video if you like this video, to share it around, to help me battle the algorithm and spread the word of Earthstrology into our world, because this is the astrology of our world, who has a world tree, Earth's rotational axis, which defines the cardinal directions, and the North Pole leans in every moment forever towards that place on the path of the sun, the ecliptic plane called 0 degrees tropical Cancer. So when the sun each year, because of Earth's orbit and the tilt of our axis, the tilt of our rotational axis or rotational plane, the equator, with respect to our orbital plane, the ecliptic, equator, plane of day, spin, rotation, ecliptic, plane of year, orbit, revolution. They are tilted by an angle in our day and age of about 23.5 degrees. It's really 23.4, but nobody wants to say that because if you do, you have to honor that the terrestrial latitude of the Arctics is 66.6, and nobody wants to say that shit. I don't know. Anyway, 23.5 degrees, and this is why the Tropic of Cancer is 23.5 degrees north of Earth's equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south of Earth's equator. There is a great cycle of obliquity shift in about 41,000 years, according to the current astronomical math, where that tilt angle changes slightly. And when that changes, the tropics change too. I mean, they're changing literally daily. Let's say the tilt angle is 24.1, then the Tropic of Cancer will be 24.1 degrees north of Earth's equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn will be 24.1 degrees south of Earth's equator. This is Earth astronomy. Friends, when the sun ingresses tropical Cancer, the sun shines directly above Earth's Tropic of Cancer. This is the astronomy that ignorant rationalists are choosing to ignore or perhaps forget or not even learn so they can stay armed in their ridiculous need to fight the idea of correspondences. Let me just take this a little bit further. There is north and south literally defined by Gaia's spine, the sword of our stone, Earth's rotational axis. And therefore, there is a global east and west. Now, what is east of Ghana in any moment is not east in Belize. But there is a center of Earth where we all connect, who has north and south. That is her rotational axis. And therefore, she has global east and west. That's the world tree, friends. In our day and age, we're very fortunate to have a star on top of that tree, at least on the northern top. And zero Cancer, cardinal Cancer, is aligned to cardinal north, just as cardinal Capricorn is aligned to cardinal south. I have them here as appropriate above the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, but really I could extend these to the poles because Cancer is the north point, Capricorn is the south point. Aries is aligned to cardinal east, and cardinal Libra is aligned to cardinal west. That's why the glyph is the setting sun. The directional zodiac. So here we have sun now snaking back across the equator at that west point and moving into southern declinations. Declination, again, measured north or south of Earth's equator in the most southern declination, the point of the zodiac path, the sun's path, the heart of the zodiacal constellations. 0 degrees tropical Capricorn, the most southern bounds of the sun's journey. The place that's furthest away from California where I reside, 23.5 degrees south. Again, that equals Earth's tilt. Okay, 23.44, but who's counting? We are. And by the way, if you look at the declination on the screen, and again, I guess this animation was just hard to pause at the right places. When the sun ingresses tropical Capricorn, the sun shines directly above Earth's Tropic of Capricorn. That's right. This is the astronomy these ignorant quackademics are ignoring, I guess. I would love to. I've taught many of them, actually, who have been open and minded enough to have the conversation. Now, I don't expect them to believe that something that happened like the Red Sox losing the World Series 2 days before my birth could result in a sickness 2 years after my birth. That's ridiculous to them, and that's fine. But at least they can stop spreading this ignorant, ridiculous, false accusations of the tropical signs having nothing to do with astronomy. I wish they would get educated, and I'm glad you're choosing to. And I'm sorry I get so charged about this, but I can't tell you how many emails I receive about Ophiuchus. Anyway, so the declination at the Tropic of Capricorn in our day and age, 23 degrees, 26 minutes, and 17 seconds. That's our current tilt angle, all right? And then the sun will cross the east point, tropical Aries, and then have a declination of 0 because the sun is then on the equator each year at east equinox, which, by the way, is the sun on the cross. East equinox. Easter time, the first one, was at Passover, when the sun is passing over the equator. Why the ram's blood? Well, if you look at the eastern sky, you will notice that stars that rise south of east head to the south, and stars that rise north of east head to the north, and in each moment describing the ram horns rising of the east. Now, if you live where I do, 38 degrees north from the equator, you've got to tilt your head 38 degrees. By the way, that animation at the bottom I made for the equator, where you really get the very clear evidence of the ram's horn rise, the fountain of youth in the eastern sky, the ram's horns which hook back around to set due west. So this is the sun on the cross, and well, I've revealed the Easter and East equinox mysteries, I think, many times. Important thing for you to remember here is that the tropical zodiac is directionally aligned: Aries east, Cancer north, Libra west, Capricorn south, and that those southern bounds and northern bounds of the sun's path are 23.5 degrees north and south of the equator. Okay, so if you live like I do in the northern hemisphere, the sun is now closest to you. That's solstice, and then the sun will stop. Stop what? Solstice means the sun stops. Stop traveling north, and then turn around and start heading south. Now, how we get from 12 signs from those 4 very clear astronomical points or earthstronomical points is maybe a tale for another time. And I think maybe we've seen, maybe I guess we'll watch one more year of the solar serpent. These, by the way, are all animations for my Sacred Astronomy course, which you can access at the courses page of GeminiBrett.com. I sure would appreciate the support at this time, where I've recently become dad of a little baby Maya, and I'm kind of freaking out about how to provide and all that, yeah? And it's just a wonderful course to help you keep your feet on the ground as you engage with the mysteries of the heavens above, so you can truly celebrate the marriage of heaven and earth, hence Earthstrology. Why not watch it again? And now, what are some of the experiences here on Earth of suns apparent circling and snaking north and south of our equatorial plane during the course of the year? Well, how about the midday sun getting super high in the sky and then super low at another time? So here's an animation, thanks to a lot of hard work in Stellarium astronomy software, of one midday sun to the next. So this is the sun culminating at midday, halfway between sunrise in the east and sunset in the west on this type of day, which is the sun on the hand of the high man, an image in our day and age of the solstice sun. And I'm going to get back to that. This means the sun rose most north of east and will set most north of west, and we will see that. And therefore, in northern hemisphere skies, be highest in our heavens. In the southern hemisphere, the opposite would be true, okay? You know how when you walk towards the building appears to get taller? Well, this building is walking towards us. Now, the building not called the sun, by the way, called the zodiac. Tropic of Cancer is the part of the zodiac that's closest to the northern hemisphere. Tropic of Capricorn, furthest away. The opposite, of course, true for southern hemisphere experience, right? So summer solstice, height of the light, northern hemisphere, is the depth of the light. Winter solstice in the southern hemisphere, as you know. But what heals the seasonal opposition of this world, and even the truth that in one hemisphere, like the north, where the climates of, I don't know, Hawaii are very different than those in Scotland, the tropical zodiac is not seasonal, friends. It results from the same truth that the seasons does, which is Earth's directions. And again, with Earth moving north through space, the tropical directional zodiac is a global reality. So we don't need to flip the signs if you head down below. And there is a truth to the southern hemisphere being quote unquote below, because it's at the stern of the ship, with the bow being the northern hemisphere as we travel north through space, because the sun in our entire solar system is known as the apex of the sun's way. Now, if you feel like you're receiving way too much information in too little time, you are. Like, this is ridiculous. And I share this information slowly and sequentially, logically, with practices over the course of weeks in my sacred astronomy classes, so you can really integrate this. But it's important to know a few of these keys if you want to see why it's really the most powerful time of Earth, Moon, Sun galactic alignments that is possible during the great 26,000 year cycle known as axial precession. So let us continue. Here we are at Cancer solstice, North Stis. I've cast this for Boulder, Colorado. By the way, you're bug-eyed. You're looking at south, where the sun culminates and northern hemisphere climbs. East and west all at the same time, which is impossible, right? We'd have to look left or right and up and down and all that. But the software lets us play as do our charts. What's going to happen day by day? I'm just looking at the midday sun every day. You can see the date changing in the lower right if you'd like. Well, we go all the way down to the lowest midday sun at winter solstice and then climb again. The Capricorn goat climbs. And what did we just notice? The sun going down for 6 months, the midday sun, and therefore the shadow getting longer at midday every day for 6 months, and then the sun going back up, and so the midday shadow getting shorter and shorter and shorter. If you do the shadow work and use the meridian calendar each year, you will see the Gemini glyph. And I think I'm going to skip some of these deep teachings about the totem and Antisha, but let me just show you this. If you have eyes to see and the will to look, you will notice that the sun rises in a different place on the horizon throughout the course of the year. If you're at equator, these solstice extremes would be 23.5 degrees north for Cancer solstice and south for Capricorn solstice of east at sunrise and west for sunset. Now, this is the crab, friends, and the tidal places where the crabs reside that walk sideways. Solstice, sun stops at tropikos, Greek for turn around. Let's watch that again. So this is just the sunrise every day during the course of a year, reaching its northern extreme at Cancer time, its southern extreme at Capricorn time, crossing cardinal east and west at equinox time. Now, the further you live from the equator, the more extreme the solstice risings and settings on your horizon. Again, if you're at the equator, the solstice extremes are equal to the tilt angle. And this is called, yeah, I'm just realizing I don't want to teach all that. But I do want to show this. The moon does this every month. Sun does it every year. The moon does it every month. The zodiac does it every day. The moon does this every month, but she does something even more. Why? Because the moon is not confined to the solar path. Nadine, thank you so much. Nadine says, come on, hit that like button. 65 people watching, 16 likes, and the heart sinks a little bit. It really does, friends. Like, it completely helps the work. So I'd really appreciate it. And Nadine, I really appreciate you for reminding. Nobody wants to say that shit. Right, indeed. Sorry, I'm trying to clean up my language. It's like refusing to acknowledge the elephant in the room. It's like refusing to acknowledge the room these people who believe that the tropical signs are not zodiacal. Stephanie King, you are a queen. One of those 16 likes, which just rose to 19. Okay, anyway, this isn't, I don't need to just whine here. But yeah, again, a lot of people watch this in a time that I currently perceive to be the future, maybe even at solstice time. Maybe they'll be looking back to this sacred alignment of Earth, Moon, Sun, galactic core at our time. Thanks for supporting the work. The present of your presence is the greatest gift. You give the video a like, share it around. It really helps. We have to battle the algorithm and the ignorant quackademics, apparently. I'm not trying to bring the astronomers, as they call them, of our day and age to astrology. They're on their own trip. They're discovering amazing things. But I would like to bring more astrologers to the astronomy, because we must connect the measurable and the immeasurable. Oh, and Stephanie, that's interesting to hear. So she says she sees 45. I don't know if people watching her likes right now, so maybe I'm getting a different report. Anyway, gratitude. So check it out. The sun goes every year from the Tropic of Capricorn to the Tropic of Cancer, right? And so when the sun's at the Tropic of Cancer, as it will be with Northstice, as I call it, the sun's northern extreme, right? And that this year is June 20th, 2024. It doesn't happen on the 21st every year because we have a weird kind of Gregorian calendar and we have to deal with a leap day and all that business. Yeah. Anyway, when the sun's at the northern extreme, the northern bounds of his yearly travel, or the northern bounds of the ecliptic, the plane of the year, the plane of earth, matter, and sun spirit, it's closest to me here in California, and therefore highest in my sky. It's furthest from you in Peru, and therefore lowest in your sky. Summer solstice, winter solstice, right? But Northstice, regardless if you're here or in the southern hemisphere, the sun is now rising furthest north of east, setting furthest north of west. And in the northern hemisphere, that's the long path because it must culminate in the south. So north, east, south, northwest. In the southern hemisphere, where the sun culminates in the north, that's the short path, northeast, north, northwest. Yes? But regardless, north, global, directional, and we are coming to Northstice. And then the crab will stop going north, turn around, and start heading south. So the sun does that every year. The moon does that every month because the moon moves through all of the signs in the tropical months, which is 27 and a third days. But the moon can go further, and at other times, not as far. And this has to do with the lunar nodes. So I'm already oversharing, and I should say that also at the Turning of the Ages Mystery School, you can access a mini course that Daniel Jamario and I made earlier this year about this great standstill cycle and about many of the sacred places on Earth that are aligned to honor its activations. I'm just seeing that my shortcut link still works to get there. And I'm seeing it says the event has passed, but replays are now available. Yeah, so it's 4 different classes and they're amazing. And it's $144. And the way to get there is GeminiBrett.com/standstill. I will just show you that link will take you to the Turning of the Ages Mystery School site, where you can access these standstill classes, and they're amazing. And I will get half of what you send, the other half to Daniel's school. You can also, by the way, while you're there at the Turning of the Ages Mystery School, check out their courses and whatnot. It's not available until July, but Daniel and I did just record this cosmology, navigating the night sky course for his school. And it's Daniel Jamario who first became aware of the importance of these Turning of the Ages mysteries. I've added some to this by helping him know that tropical zodiac is directional, and it's Earth's south pole, now leaning to the galactic core. Okay, a few more things I want to share with you, and then I'll just reiterate what this is all about. Where is that image? Huh. YouTube.com, and I can just search Kristen, Gemini Brett, Kristen soul song, because I added my mom's soul song to this particular video. Present. So this was an image I took of the moon setting from this window of my office where I'm currently speaking to you from. And the moon here setting in a special place. Now, it wouldn't seem special to you, but I will just share that it is this tree that I'm circling here that I call the birthing tree. And the reason why is that's where the Capricorn solstice, the Solstice sun sets. That's the most southern setting of the sun from my point of view. It's the birthing tree because, of course, that winter solstice is now the birth of the light. Sing a Christmas song, right? And so what you're seeing here is the moon setting way south of there. That is the moon out of bounds. Okay, another way I can show this to you is, let's get to a chart for right now. And we know, sorry, let's make this prettier. Hello, Owl. Hello, Goddess Venus. Right now, we can see the declinations of Mercury and Venus are highlighted in purple, and of Moon too. And by the way, yeah, this is right now. Moon is already here in the first degrees of tropical Sagittarius, out of bounds. And by the way, we're now so deep into the standstill, which happens when North Lunar Node is near the Pisces-Aries cusp. The node's retrograde. The node will get there exactly on January 11th, 2025. But for all of this year, 2024, and next year, 2025, if you're into that Gregorian trip, the moon will go extremely out of bounds north in Gemini, Cancer, and extremely out of bounds south in Sagittarius, Capricorn. And here's moon in Scorpio, not out of bounds, but let's move some hours ahead of there. And Astro Gold is now indicating out of bounds with purple font in the declinations that I'm circling there. So let me just go some hours until the moon crosses the Tropic of Capricorn, which is 23 degrees, 26 minutes south of Earth's equator. And as soon as the moon is more south than that, the moon is out of bounds. And this actually, it looks like, yeah, here's the moon out of bounds in Scorpio. Some people will teach you that the moon can only go out of bounds in Sagittarius, Capricorn, Gemini, and Cancer, the solstice signs, but that's not true. She can go out of bounds in the fixed signs as well. And especially when we get into the North Node at 0 Aries on January 11th, 2025. At that time, the moon will be positioned to go most out of bounds. So let's actually, well, just rewind from here and show you that at that time when the moon's in Taurus. And we saw this, by the way, as moon Pleiades occultation before, January 9th, 2025. Is that still here? No, let me go back there. January 9th, 2025. And let's just search for the moon. All right, and then I'm just going to move ahead through time. Ooh. And we'll see the moon occult Maya, as we were seeing before, right? Why is that happening? So let's talk about the standstill. Maya is rather north of the ecliptic, okay? And you know what? I'm going to cast that chart here too. Well, I did. Maya, after more than 2,000 years in tropical Taurus, processed into tropical Gemini last year in 2023. Around this time of the year. Partially inspiring the name of my baby. Let's put the moon at that Taurus Gemini cusp, which is marked in the tropical zodiac by the Pleiades in our day and age. And we're going to see here, if I put the Pleiades on the screen, I guess I can only put Alcyone easily. This is my trying to read the computer screen face. Oh no, I can. Look, moon and all the Pleiades. So here's moon conjoined Maya, not only by longitude, okay, but also we're going to see moon parallel Maya and very close to those. That means an occultation. It must be a conjunction not only in longitude, but also in latitude. That's when you get this, okay? Moon not only at the Pleiades degree, which happens every day in every month in our day and age when moon moves from the Taurus sign to Gemini in the tropical zodiac, but moon also with the Pleiades by celestial latitude, and that has to do with the moon's path based upon where the nodes are at that time, moon crossing the sun's path, right? You can zoom out and we'll just kind of review some of the things that we saw in those illustrations before. This is moon's north node where moon snakes north of the sun's path, and then she has her northern bending, okay? Take the moon's path away and just honor the north node of spirit and matter, by which I mean this ecliptic, the path of the sun's spirit, northing across the equator, the plane of Earth's rotation, matter. So year and day, and it's 0 tropical Aries, not constellational Aries, but look at how Pisces, the fishes, look like the Aries glyph. There's a very important reason for this. But it's where the circle of spirit, the ecliptic norths across the equator. That's like the north node of the year, you see? And if you will, then the northern bending of the year is the Tropic of Cancer. Now, when the north lunar node, where'd the moon go? Here, this supersizer. When the north lunar node is at that north annual node, okay, when the north lunar node is at 0 tropical Aries, that point that's due east of the center of the Earth, that means the lunar bending, the northern bending, is going to be at the sun's most northern point, or the ecliptic path's most northern declination. That's 0 degrees tropical Cancer, okay? Let me move this ahead through time. We'll kind of show then, therefore, the moon, when moving into tropical Cancer, and that's like a couple days later, right, will be at this northern extreme and even further north. And that a couple weeks later, or let's just go to now, and I'm going to bring the galactic center up to the top of your screen. And we are going to see that after solstice, by the way, that's people leaving messages in constellations. Do-do-do-do. It's a good sound to me. Look at moon now occulting Antares. Maybe not quite. But look what happens. So here's the next day. So this is June 20th in the AM. This is right before the solstice, the sun reaching the northern extreme. We will then have moon. Let me go to the next day. Coming across the galactic center, which is marked here, GC. Let's watch this together. And that's going to happen on June 22nd. So in our day and age, the galactic center projects to 27 degrees tropical Sagittarius, a little bit more. The galactic center is like 5 degrees south of the ecliptic plane. So when the moon's path, because of where her nodes are, allow for her bendings to be at the galactic core, we have the opportunity for moon to occult galactic center. Now, as you can see here in 2024, that's not exact. Let's see if I go to this time in 2025, and we're going to go real, well, let me rewind from here. because I want to bring the moon back to the galactic cross, and I'm going to share a little bit more about what that is. It's an interesting image there. Okay, let's see if moon occults the galactic core that time. No, really, we're going to have to get the moon's south node at like 27 tropical Virgo for this to perfect. But importantly, this galactic center point, and let's go back to now and then move ahead to the 21st and then follow the moon to the galactic core here. So this is something I would like, I am putting on my calendar as a time to just go and pray. This is like 11 a.m. on June 21st. And you know what? Maybe depending on what's alive with the baby at the time, I'll like go live. Well, you know what? No, I'm gonna do my own thing. Maybe I'll work with those ashes that I was talking about before. But 11 a.m. Pacific time on June 21st, the moon will align with the galactic core. Okay, and that happens every month when the moon is at like 27 tropical Sagittarius. That in our day and age is where the galactic center, this black hole, white hole at the center of our Milky Way galaxy. Okay, let me show you this thing again. This is a time lapse I took in Hawaii. It is here. Can you see the mouth of the serpent biting its own tail? This is the cosmic serpent that surrounds us. This is the band of our galaxy, right? This is the scorpion, by the way, and the archer. And so one thing I love about Khalil Gibran's On Children poem showing earlier, right, in the archer and bending the bow, and that is like literally the arrow of the archer points to galactic center. So at this time, 11 a.m. Pacific time on June 21st, 2024, the moon will be just about as aligned to the galactic core as she can be. Now this, if our astronomy is right, where the arrow of the archer, the tail of the stinger, and the foot of the serpent bearer triangulate, that is literally a black hole, white hole at the center of our spiral galaxy about which our solar system orbits. In other words, it is the sun of our sun. You know, it's an image for source, okay? So this is Earth moon, right? Moon always reflecting sunlight. Now, amazingly, let's look here on the chart. When is full moon? And the answer is just shortly thereafter at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So let me go there. When moon will be fully reflecting sunlight back to Earth. Okay, and happening so close to the galactic center. Here where I live, moon won't have risen yet, but let's just go somewhere east of here. That's not too hard to do. And let's bring the moon up to like midday position at that time. Looks like we're over somewhere in Spain. I think I went too far. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to go north of there. We're going to go to Scotland, where Daniel Jamario, my first teacher, and many members of the Turning of the Ages Mystery School are right now. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of a different image of the ground beneath our feet. Yeah, that one, this one actually, it's pretty cool. Because in Scotland, at a very sacred site called Callanish, there's a stone circle built to honor and align with this great standstill cycle. Now, if you lived where trees were like this, you would never see this moon at the great standstill times. On the other side of the 18.6 year cycle, you might. So let's adjust this thing again. All right, that will do. And they talk there in Callanish about these times when the moon walks the land. This is the lunar path on that day. Like rising so far south of east and setting so far south of west. And again, the further you are from the equator, the more extreme those solstice alignments are, solstice rising and restings are. And for the lunar path, it can be more extreme than that of the sun. Okay. So Kalanish is like a full 51 degrees north, 58 degrees north of Earth's equator. It's way up there, you know? And so there, the solstice point is very low in the sky, like lower than it is here in California. I'm not going to share the math behind that right now because we've had so much tech, but you can see that in the standstill class. I mentioned it in my sacred astronomy course as well. This is the moon walking on the earth. Now, if you're in the southern hemisphere, you just have to wait 2 weeks, because when the moon's in tropical Cancer, that's when, that's the degree that's furthest for you and therefore closest to your ground. And then the moon will walk the land, right? We're having the same standstill. This happens every 18.6 years when the north node of the moon reaches 0 degrees tropical Aries, because then the southern bending is at 0 degrees tropical Capricorn, which is already the southern bending of the zodiac. So the moon is taking the most south point and making it 5 degrees more south, and therefore walking on the land or being highest in our sky. Now, that happens literally every 18.6 years forever. And the galactic core here, the galactic center, which is a radio telescope measured thing that we haven't known about for long, okay? It's about 5 degrees south of the ecliptic plane. Let me see if I can type, yeah, Sagittarius A star will get us there. Great. So you can see here the longitude or the latitude of Sagittarius A star, which is a place in the galactic core, 5.5 degrees south of the ecliptic plane. Well, the moon, remember, norths and souths, 5 degrees north of and 5 degrees south of the ecliptic every month. Okay. And this means that forever, the moon will reach galactic core. What is special in our day and age, okay, that won't be true in 1,000 years and wasn't true 100 years ago, is that currently Earth's south pole is leaning towards the Milky Way center, the galactic core. Okay, so let me share again, still from this time lapse that I shot. Look at this, okay? Compare this place of the Milky Way. I guess I can't show you much more, but even here, see how the Milky Way here is like much less busy, active, bright than this place here. This is the galactic core. Where is the black hole? You can't see that with your eyes. What you see is what the astronomers call the galactic bulge. I mean, there's billions of stars here. And that was known, of course, to the ancients. Look, more than it is today because of all the damn light pollution, right? Like I had to go to a lava field in Maui to photograph that. Now here, the way I find it, though I can't see it with my eyes, even at new moon time, is that the stinger of the scorpion and the arrow of the archer point there. Again, let us read. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hands be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. I want to honor as well that the easier asterism to see in the Archer constellation is the Teapot. So it's time for more tea and time for me to give gratitude to my dear friend and most magical mystic, Kirsten, for sending me amazing teas. Like I'm currently drinking literally a Chaud Puer from the 1980s. That's absurd. In 87, by the way, we had our last lunar standstill maximum season like this. Not that last, 87 again in 2006, every 18.6 years, okay? And sacred sites like Callanish are most activated at that time. We have them here in the United States too. Look into Chimney Rock, look into Newark Earthworks. Hit GeminiBread.com/standstill and learn about these places and learn about Daniel Jamario's journeys to them. We don't see the galactic center. So yes, it's great to learn that it's at 27 degrees tropical Sagittarius, but there's something you should also know. What you can see with your eyes if you get to in dark sky spaces is this giant galactic band. Do you see how this is the same place as this? Okay, this, by the way, is Antares, the heart of the scorpion. The archer of the arrow, oh my God, it's the arrow of the archer. It's like hard to see. The archer here, so many stars. Yeah, this is the handle of the teapot, the top of the teapot, okay, which is here. So arrow pointing to the galactic center, tail of the scorpion pointing to the galactic center, Ophiuchus standing there, the serpent bearer standing there, right? Like a great constellation, just not a zodiacal constellation, friends. The galactic cross is where the plane of the Milky Way, which is very discernible with your naked eye, right? There's a band and it has like depth and breadth, but there's a center of that band. That's the plane of our Milky Way galaxy. You know, it's like our city in our neighborhood is the ecliptic, our solar system, right? The ecliptic being its plane. They cross in our day and age. Let me say they cross forever here at the galactic center. And on the opposite side, which I'm going to end by showing you this. In our day and age, what's unique about this, like let me just go back 1,000 years. And what you're going to see is back then, the 0 Capricorn point was here. Okay, let's go back 2,000 years before then. And you're going to see that then the 0 Capricorn point, which is the place of the sun's path that is most south of the Earth's rotational plane, okay, Tropic of Capricorn. Then it was in Capricornus, the sea goat. But it's been a long time since then. That's literally 1,000 BC, okay? Here's 1,000 AD, and the Tropic of Capricorn was then in the Archer's Cape, if you will, or above the handle of the teapot. And where it is this year is here at the galactic cross. And you'll see as I zoom in that it's not exactly, if I go to 1999, that's when this perfected. 0 degrees tropical Capricorn, the Tropic of Capricorn, the point of the sun's path that is most south of the equator, crossed the galactic plane in 1999. That, my friends, is galactic alignment. This is the image of the turning of the ages. Now, within this framework, and I would extend it, by the way, to when like 200 years from now, let's go like 22, because it's fun. Now, the 0 Capricorn, the Tropic of Capricorn, is going to reach the longitudes of galactic center. It's going to require a few more degrees and therefore a couple hundred years of precession. For me, it's still open then. And within this long window of time, which I personally see is like 500 years, maybe more, every 18.6 years when the North Lunar Node reaches 0 Aries, therefore the southern bending is at the Tropic of Capricorn, then the moon can literally occult the galactic core and really like bring soul, moon, to this matter, earth, spirit, sun, source. That's not the right word for it, but mystery, galactic core situation. Okay. I'm going to show you 2 more things. One, I meant to show you another image of out of bounds planets. So here we are now. We have, as we can see in this points list, oops, wrong button, a bunch of out of bounds stuff, out of bounds moon, Mercury, and Venus, moon out of bounds south, contra parallel, out of bounds north, Mercury and Venus. Let me show you that on a map. So first, I will just show you again the truth of the directional zodiac. The zodiac, the ecliptic, the path of the sun, it's not fixed, by the way, so that 0 tropical Aries would be here above Papua New Guinea because the Earth spins through this place. Let me just show you to kind of support that an hour later. Okay, now 0 Aries is there. Let's just go a bunch of hours and you can watch, you know, the Earth spinning beneath. This place is where the ecliptic snakes across the equator. That's 0 Aries, the northern snaking, the north node of sun spirit and earth matter. Okay, then it norths to the Tropic of Cancer, where it turns around, which is what tropicos means, and heads south, crossing the equator at 0 Libra, southern extreme 0 Capricorn. Okay, these circles on an cartography map, if we select in mundo positions, which honors not only celestial longitude, where planets are along the ecliptic plane, the zodiac degrees, but also celestial latitude, meaning how far north or south of that ecliptic the planets are. These circles at the midheaven lines will show me where the planets are directly overhead. They are called zenith circles. So the time shown here, which is 7:21 p.m. tonight, actually, let me just go to now. Like right now, the moon is above South Africa. Actually, is that true? No, Botswana. Regardless, let me zoom in over there. The moon is south of the Tropic of Capricorn, which is this dotted line here. Thanks, AstroGold, for adding this stuff per my request. It is amazing. Let me zoom out. And we're going to see that the zenith circles for Venus and Mercury are both north of Earth's Tropic of Cancer. Well, the sun can never go there. The sun can never go south of the Tropic of Capricorn. This is what out of bounds means. And again, look, breaking broken rules is the right thing to do. Break out. Politics, my friends, is like the entertainment division of empire, which is a quote from my teacher, Neil Kramer. I love that. Turn that fucking TV off, y'all. Anyway, do what you do. Do what you do. But breaking broken rules is the right thing to do. So, why go to Calendish at this time to watch the moon walk the land? And there are many prophecies that speak of this powerful alignment of our time, including one from the Bible, which we will see activated every month at this time of galactic alignment. So I'm going to say, let's go 1950 to 2350. Right? Let's go 1900 to 2400. Give it 500 years. That's a little hard to say, and that has to do with like the distance of the breadth, the width of the Milky Way. Okay. Violet says, but I'm watching you on my TV. Turn this shit off. Think about what it's doing to your consciousness. Anyway, I think you hear what I'm saying. Let's speak more wisely. As long as I'm sharing. Use your discernment. Trust your heart. Diet is not only about what we eat and drink. And by the way, I am currently drinking tea, an amazing, like rare, kind of impossible to get Chaud Puer from 1980s China. All right. Thanks to my dear friend Kirsten Brewer, who actually is in a time of need. And therefore, he is making some of his tea library accessible to folks like you. If you like to drink amazing teas, reach out to Kirsten at Jade Frog Tea. Do it. Help a brother out and help yourself. And Kirsten, thank you for helping me. The Puer teaches us how to root into the ground while we reach into the heavens. Wow, Kevin. Kevin's out on this amazing magical trip with Daniel Gemario and the Turning of the Ages Mystery School. So she's saying hi from there in Scotland. Hi from the Hebrides. We all send our best wishes at Maya's birth. Amazing. Neo the Wise asks, what happened with the galactic alignment in 2012? Was it the sun alignment on Aries equinox? It was not. It was about the Capricorn solstice, okay? So in the Northern Hemisphere, the birth of the sun, right? Christmas time, December solstice, where we come out of the longest night and the sun is reborn. It's that alignment to the galactic core. And there is a wonderful text I highly recommend that shares not only about that transmission from like the Mayan myths, ball court alignments, and much more, but also brings in myths from other lands. And this is a great book called Galactic Alignment by John Major Jenkins, who has recently passed. Amazing teacher being. I cannot recommend that book more. Galactic Alignment, John Major Jenkins. You need to hear that again because people there was like, what was that book you mentioned? It's Galactic Alignment by John Major Jenkins. Hey, Anna. Oh, got it. All right. There will be no visit by our star today. Hopefully another time Maya will come and play. Let me show you something on the other side of this cycle. So now that the south point is aligned to the galactic core, that's literally Earth's south pole. Let me go now. Is leaning here. That's shown in Stellarium astronomy software by the Capricorn glyph. That's the Tropic of Capricorn, the point that is most south of the Earth's rotational plane. Bam. And again, this perfected in 1999. You see now 0 Capricorn glyph right on the galactic plane. That's shown in light blue there. Okay, but it's still alive. Think about like the distance of the sun, the width of the sun, which is half a degree. And think about the width of the Milky Way. Okay. So again, many years, and every 18.6 years within those times when the north node of the moon reaches 0 degrees tropical Aries, then we get these standstills and we get these opportunities for moon to like literally occult that galactic core, as we had seen. And coming up, as I had shown you earlier, on June 21st, 11 a.m. Pacific, be there, do something special. Know that this gateway of most magical Earth, Moon, Sun alignment, right? Full moon, standstill, low moon. It's everything at once, okay? But now I'm going to go 2 weeks later. And we are going to see the moon on the hand of the high man, because opposite the galactic center is what the astronomers call the galactic anti-center, indicated by GA here, though I prefer to use the term that my teacher Daniel Gemario first taught me, which is galactic edge. It's in a very important place in space. It was really fun to interview Daniel about this place recently. And speaking of many different star stories, like the Pleiades and Sirius and Orion's Belt and Orion's Nebula, the smoke of creation, where I believe our sun was born, and so much more. The Lakota people call this place in the heavens the sacred hoop. So let me show you just an image quickly from their star lore. They say that this is the place where our souls come from, and that when we die, it's the place that we will go to be purified in this sweat lodge in the sky, this inipi. The stones, by the way, are heated here in the fire pit, which you and I maybe know as the head of the lion. And that when we are purified in this great hoop of stars, we will then walk the spirit road, which is the Milky Way. to a place that sets in the southwest. And by the way, that is galactic center. But let me share one other thing with you, okay? And I think to do so, though, I want to show you here the moon very far north. Let me just put our feet back on the ground and show you this. And I'm going to do that by bringing the moon to the meridian in a location west of where we are in this moment. No. Yeah, there we go. Boom. This is a super high moon. Okay. And I'm currently like at Callanish, 58 north of Earth's equator. If I come further south, like that moon's going way high in the sky. In fact, if we're at the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Cancer is directly above our head, 0 degrees tropical Cancer, okay? But the moon can go 5 degrees north of that. So anyway, super high. I'm going to just also share that there are many prophecies that speak about the hand of the high man. Okay, this is like from the Celtic prophetic traditions. Again, I learned from Daniel Gemario. Obviously, here in this place of space, in our day and age, the hand of the high man Orion, the club of Orion, literally points to 0 degrees tropical Cancer. This is part of the galactic alignment mysteries, where the solstice points, like Earth's North Pole, are now aligned to the galaxy. Well, all stars that we see are from our galaxy, okay? But the galactic core. And this is actually not the galactic center. This is opposite galactic center. This is looking out the fastest way into intergalactic space, where the souls come from, the Silver Gate, the galactic center on the other side, the other galactic cross, where ecliptic and galactic equator intersect, is galactic center, okay? Solstice alignment to this. This is galactic alignment. These are the mysteries. I'm going to go back to the solstice, sun on the hand of the high man. And that is happening every year in this time of galactic alignment. Okay, now that one's happening more in this kind of 1975 to 2025 zone. Those are the years I speak because they're just kind of easy to receive, probably also because I'm born in 75 and working on my ego, right? Anyway, this is a really important happening. And let me just share this thing with you. There's a little code in the Bible, in the New Testament, right, where Christ is on his way to be crucified, and those who are going to kill him are seeking him to publicly blaspheme so they can justify his murder. Now, the night before, when the disciples asked him where to prepare Passover supper, he says, "Go ye into the city," says Jerusalem, "follow the man bearing the pitcher of water into the house in which he dwells." And something about go upstairs, prepare it there. And then it says later he arrived with the 12. He, friends, is the Son. The 12 are the 12 signs that he travels through. Gemini, by the way, the twins. Did you know Didymus Thomas means twins in different languages? Anyway, so follow the water bearer. Hello, the age of Aquarius. When's it going to start? Now, the astronomy of that is super cloudy, okay? It's not cloudy to see the solstice alignment to the clouds of heavens, which are the Milky Way band. That one is much more clear than trying to see the east point into the stars of the water bearer or into sidereal Aquarius, etc. But Christ gives us actually a timeline in the next page. I think he's on trial. They ask him if he said that he was the Son of God. Are you the Son of the Beloved? And he goes, yeah, I am. And you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. That's the Milky Way. And sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One. Hello. This happens, let me go 1,000 years ago, when the then solstice sun would have been that on your screen. Just as high in the sky, but not on the hand of the Hymen, then the North Solstice sun would have been here, let's just say in the tunics of the twins. If I go back 1,000 years before that, or let's just go a couple thousand years before that, we're going to see then the Tropic of Cancer in the crab. And then the quackademics were like, then your zodiac was a thing. Anyway, to sum up, and again, this is too much information at once. Like Daniel and I just recorded 23 classes to kind of get to this point. In my sacred astronomy course, there's a lot of framework built up to get there. And we do it in pace, and there's practices to connect, okay? So I'm dropping like too much on you at once. You can go to GeminiBrett.com to the offerings page, or now it's called videos, and check out the Sun on the Cross at the Turning of the Ages. We are incarnated at the most amazing times of this galactic alignment. And now, within this band of, some would say 100, maybe even 500 years, every 18.6 years, when the moon's north node is in tropical Aries, that means now and next year in 2025, the last time again in 2006, before that 1987, will happen again in 18.6 years, but the galactic alignment perfected in 1999. Okay, so maybe that 2006 time was the most aligned. That doesn't mean we should miss this opportunity. We now have the moon walking the land, fully reflecting sun back to our eyes at the galactic core in such a way that that can only happen literally in a short window of time every 26,000 years. And I cannot perceive in my current state of seeking any more magical alignment of matter, soul, spirit, and great mystery. And let me speak of the astronomical characters of Earth, Moon, Sun, galactic core. Or in this case, Moon, Earth, Sun, full moon, right? Moon, Earth, Sun. No. In this case, Sun, Earth, Moon, galactic core. And that is happening. And you are happening. And I want to end with this poem that I've been referring to a bunch. It was not expected by me here, but it showed up, and I think it matters very much. And I'm hearing something new in this that I never heard before. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. So there's the advice. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. I'm so glad that you got to spend some time here with me. I'll put one more time this link in the bottom thing called the comment section, which is GeminiBrett.com/constellations. I really hope you'll consider aligning your star with ours. If you haven't already, we're having a lot of fun there. We're exploring these mysteries together and opening our hearts and sharing our feels so we can feel and heal and know and grow. Thank you for supporting my work by tuning in. Yeah, I will see you next week on StarrTelling Hours. Won't be this long, by the way. Or maybe it will. See you in space.